If she finds out before filing.
Downplay.
Emphasize this was precautionary. Frame as Meredith's idea, not mine. Do not admit to active planning. That is what I read on tab 5 of my husband's secret spreadsheet. It was labeled contingencies, and it was a word-for-word script for how to lie to my face if I ever discovered what he'd been hiding. 5 tabs, color-coded, month by month, a step-by-step plan to divorce me and walk away with $412,000 of our shared life. And I found it sitting right there on our shared laptop while he was upstairs in the shower. When he came downstairs holding his world's best husband mug and said, "Morning, babe, you want eggs?" I turned that screen toward him and watched the color drain out of his face. But to understand how I ended up at that kitchen table, I need to take you back to the beginning. Before I get into the full story, if you're into stories like this, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. We drop new ones every single day, and trust me, they only get crazier from here. Alright, let me tell you everything. My name is Jenna. I'm 31, and my husband Ryan is 34. We've been married 6 years, together for 9. We bought a 3-bedroom house in Cary, North Carolina back in 2021 when you could still lock in a 2.9% rate and actually afford a place. I'm a dental hygienist. Ryan works in IT project management for a mid-size consulting firm. No kids yet, but we've been talking about starting to try this summer. Remember that part. It matters later. Our marriage wasn't perfect. He thought I spent too much at Harris Teeter. I thought he spent too many Tuesday nights on Discord with his college buddies. We did 3 months of couples counseling last year, not because things were bad, but because we wanted to be ready for a baby. Our therapist, Dr. Lynn, actually told us we were one of her healthier couples. We stopped going in October. I thought we were in a really good place. But I had no idea what was sitting on his laptop the entire time. 3 weeks ago, on a Saturday morning, January 25th, I was using Ryan's laptop because mine was doing one of those Windows updates that takes 45 minutes. I just needed to pull up our budget tracker from Google Drive. When I opened Google Sheets, the recent documents loaded, and right there, third one down, was a file called Exit Plan 2026. I want to tell you, I hesitated. I want to tell you, I thought about his privacy. But the name was Exit Plan 2026.
Be honest with me.
What would you have done? I clicked it. And what I found inside was so much worse than the title. 5 tabs. The first tab was a timeline. Month by month, January through August 2026. Each month had action items like a project manager's Gantt chart, which makes sense because that's literally what Ryan does for a living. January said research divorce attorneys in Wake County, consult with Meredith on asset strategy. Meredith is Ryan's older sister. She's a family law attorney in Charlotte. February said begin shifting direct deposit percentages, 70-30 split favoring personal account. March said open individual brokerage account, begin transferring non-retirement investments. April was about the house. Transfer house title to personal trust before filing. Word for word. May said secure copies of all shared financial documents. June said file petition. That's 6 months of choreographed betrayal, planned out like a product launch. But the timeline wasn't even the worst tab. The second tab was a full financial breakdown. Every single account we have. Joint checking, joint savings, my 401k, his 401k, our Vanguard investment account, even the emergency fund I started after my dad passed. All listed with balances that were accurate as of about 2 weeks before I found it. Whoever made this had done their homework. The third tab was titled Legal Strategy. It had notes about North Carolina being an equitable distribution state, what that means for property division, how to time alimony claims. And then I saw a bullet point that made my hands go cold. It said position the narrative. Those exact words. There was a sub-bullet beneath it about framing the counseling as evidence of irreconcilable differences. Our therapy. The thing we did to make our marriage better. He was going to use it against me. I sat there in our kitchen for 20 minutes, maybe longer. My coffee got cold. I read every tab. The fourth was a document checklist. Birth certificates, marriage license, 3 years of tax returns, mortgage paperwork, my student loan statements. And that brings us to the moment I told you about at the start.
Tab 5.
Contingencies. The if she finds out before filing section.
Downplay.
Frame as Meredith's idea. Do not admit to active planning. I read that line 15 times. And something inside me just went quiet. When Ryan came downstairs around 9:30, hair still wet from the shower, he walked in with that mug, and I turned the laptop screen toward him. He set the mug down on the counter and just stood there. I said, "Ryan, what is this?" He said, Okay, I know how this looks, just... I said, "It looks like you've been planning to divorce me and steal our house." He said, "That's not, Jenna, that's not what, just let me explain." So he explained. And honestly, his explanation almost made it worse. He said back in December, around Christmas, he and Meredith had been talking. He mentioned we'd done counseling and Meredith went into what he called big sister mode. He said she told him every smart married person should have a contingency plan like a prenup after the fact. He said Meredith basically built the whole spreadsheet herself and shared it with him, and he looked at it once and forgot about it. I said, Ryan, there is a tab called contingencies with a script for what to say, if I find it. You looked at this once? He said, you know Meredith, she's thorough, that's just how she is, she's a lawyer. I said the February entry says begin shifting direct deposit percentages. Have you done that? He paused. A long pause. Then he said no. I said, show me your pay stubs.
Right now.
He pulled up his Chase app. His direct deposit split hadn't changed. Everything was still going to our joint account. He showed me the Vanguard login. Nothing moved. He pulled up the Wake County property records on his phone. House still in both our names. Nothing in the spreadsheet had been executed.
Not a single step.
And that's the part that makes this so complicated. If money had been moved, I'd have been gone that afternoon. No conversation, no second chance. But nothing had happened. It was just a plan. But here's what kept eating at me.
It was a really detailed plan.
I told him I needed space. I packed a bag, threw it in the back of my Civic, and drove to my best friend Courtney's apartment in Durham. I called my mom in Raleigh and told her everything. Mom said leave him, full stop, don't even go back for your stuff, I'll get it.
Courtney said the same.
My coworker Denise, who's been through 2 divorces, said something I can't get out of my head. She said, Jenna, people don't make exit plans for marriages they want to be in. But then Ryan's side started calling. And that's when things got really messy. Meredith called me first. Calm, professional, almost bored. She said, Jenna, I make these for everyone. I made one for my own husband. It's not a plan to leave. It's a plan in case things go wrong. She said she pushed Ryan to do it after the counseling because, and I quote, couples who go to therapy are statistically more likely to eventually split, and she didn't want her brother caught off guard. She said the contingencies tab was standard. She said I was being emotional and not thinking clearly. That word, emotional. I had to put my phone down and walk into Courtney's bathroom and just stand there breathing for a minute. But I have to be honest. Meredith's explanation wasn't insane. She is genuinely the type of person who has a 3-ring binder for her cat's vet records. She has earthquake insurance in North Carolina. She has a go bag in her trunk with 72 hours of supplies. That's just who she is. So, was this really just Meredith being Meredith? I wanted to believe that. But something still didn't sit right. Ryan's parents called too. His mom said, sweetie, Meredith does this for everyone. Please don't blow up your marriage over a what-if document. His dad left a voicemail saying the same thing. Everyone on his side had the same script. And I mean that literally. They all used the same phrases. Precautionary. What if? Overreacting. Almost like someone had coached them on what to say. Because here's what none of them addressed. Even if Meredith built it, Ryan kept it. He never deleted it. He never told me. He had a document on our shared laptop with a step-by-step strategy to leave me and protect his assets, and he never once said, hey babe, my sister made this weird thing, come look at it, and we'll laugh about how paranoid she is. He hid it. And that 5th tab, the if she finds out section, that wasn't Meredith being thorough. That was someone who expected to deceive me and wanted a backup story ready. I went home after 4 days. Ryan looked terrible. He hadn't shaved, the kitchen was full of DoorDash bags, and he started crying the second I walked through the door. He said he was sorry, that he should have told me or just deleted it, that he loved me, that he didn't want a divorce. He said the spreadsheet made him feel guilty every time he thought about it, and that's why he never brought it up. He offered to delete it right in front of me, go back to counseling, give me full access to every account, every password, every device. He said he'd do anything. And I believe he means it. Right now, in this moment, I believe him. But that's what scares me. Because what about 6 months from now? It's been 3 weeks. I'm still home. We sleep in the same bed, but there might as well be a wall of drywall running down the center of it. Every morning before I brush my teeth, I check our joint checking balance on my phone. Every few days, I pull up the Wake County Property Records website and search our address. I hate that I do this. I hate that I've become someone who audits her own marriage like a forensic accountant. But I can't stop. My mom keeps telling me to consult a lawyer of my own. Not to file. Just to know my options. Ryan says that would be a hostile act, and it would set us back. Meredith says it would be hypocritical, that I'm upset about him having a plan, but now I want to make my own plan. And maybe they have a point. Or maybe the fact that every single person on his side doesn't want me talking to a lawyer is exactly why I should be talking to a lawyer. I keep going back and forth. Some days I look at Ryan and see the man who spent 3 weekends learning my grandma's biscuit recipe because he knew it made me happy, the man who burned the first 4 batches and kept going. The man who held my hand through my dad's funeral last March and never once complained when I couldn't stop crying for weeks after. Other days I look at him and see a man who sat in his sister's home office and mapped out how to take everything from me on a color-coded Google spreadsheet with conditional formatting. I don't know how to make those two people the same person. My friend Alyssa said something last week over wine that I haven't been able to shake. She said, "Jenna, you don't build an escape route in a house you plan to live in forever." And I keep turning that over and over in my head. Here's the update. Ryan and I started therapy again with Dr. Lin this past Tuesday. First session was brutal. We both cried. Ryan said he felt like he was losing me in slow motion. I said he built the machine that's pulling us apart. Dr. Lin didn't tell us whether the spreadsheet should be a deal breaker. She said that's a decision only I can make. But she did say one thing that cut right through everything. She said the spreadsheet itself isn't the wound. The wound is the secrecy. And until Ryan fully understands why the secrecy is the core problem, not the planning, we can't rebuild. Ryan is trying. I see him making the effort every single day. He leaves his laptop open now. He shows me his phone when Meredith texts. He started a shared note in our Apple account where he logs every financial transaction he makes. And part of me thinks, okay, this is someone who made a mistake and is doing everything to fix it. But every time his phone buzzes and I see Meredith's name, my stomach drops. Every time he angles his screen even slightly, even accidentally, I feel physically sick. That's not a marriage. That's surveillance. And I don't know if I can live like this for the rest of my life. I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet. Some mornings I wake up and think we're going to get through this, that this will be the thing that actually makes us stronger. Other mornings I wake up at 3 a.m. staring at the ceiling and think the only reason he's fighting this hard is because I found the spreadsheet before he was ready to use it. I made an appointment with a family attorney of my own for next Thursday. I haven't told Ryan yet. Not to file.
Just to know where I stand.
Because if this whole mess has taught me one thing, it's that love and planning aren't the same thing. And right now, I need a plan of my own. So, Reddit, am I overreacting? Should I accept that it was just a precaution and move on? Or is my gut right that someone who loves you doesn't secretly plan how to leave you, no matter what their lawyer sister says? Because I keep coming back to that fifth tab. If she finds out before filing. Downplay. Frame as Meredith's idea.
Do not admit to active planning.
That's not a contingency. That's a confession.